Hi, hello everyone. I am Dr. Visweswaraiah as Assistant Professor of English, working in Government First Aid College, Kunigal, which is affiliated to Tumkur University, Karnataka. So we was today in this video. My focus is on Augustan Age or the Age of Pope. Okay, this topic is very important, and also I would like to tell you that so who are studying in Bachelor of Arts, especially specialization which has taken optional English. So this helps them to locate some of the information or get some brief introduction to the age of Augustan age or the age of Pope. Okay, so look at that. Why this age is important? Because as in the last or in the previous video, I discussed about the Restoration Age or the age of Dryden, which was the beginning of neoclassical period. So this age is the second stage of neoclassical period. It plays a very important role again because many important poetries and satires, novels and dramas uh, play a very important role, and even the writers of this age made a great contribution in the field of literature. Okay, so why this age and what is the and we can say that this particular age, or we can say that this age flourished in the early of 18th century, and also we can say that this age, why do we or we can say that why it is called as Augustan age, and we can say that what is the importance of calling or naming this as an Augustan. Okay, because Augustan literature, as I told you, that generally ascribed to the period in the first half of the 18th century. So during this age, much of the reigns of Queen Anne and George the First, King George the Second, were ruling, and also very importantly, the writers in this age contributed to this particular field. Okay, the term why okay is it I was saying that the term Augustan refers to the King George First desire to be compared to the first Roman emperor Augustus Caesar. So when the poetry and the art were supported and also admired, so thus this period was flourished. Okay, so we can say that 18th century Augustan literature emulates the classical style and also tending to be polished and shaped according to rules which governed by Roman and Greek works. So this, however, classical works are not just emulated but also parodied during the Augustan period. Okay, very key authors of this age. First of all, a prominent key or greatest writer, Alexander Pope, and Jonathan Swift, And also we find many writers or novelists, so like Daniel Defoe, Samuel Richardson, and Henry Fielding. Okay, so let us have some slides on the screen so that it helps you to just locate more on the Augustan age. Okay. Okay. See, yeah, on this slide, okay, we can say that in this, it shows that the topic, that is the Augustan age, which was started in 1700 and ended in 1750, considered also the age of Pope. Okay, look at the first slide of this presentation. Introduction to Augustan literature. Okay, Augustan age. So Augustan age is as I told you, that it's a literary style British literature during which was produced during the reigns of I already told you that Queen Anne, King George the First, and the King George the Second in the first half of the 18th century, and ending with the deaths of Alexander Pope and Jonathan Swift. Okay, so the term Augustan literature derives from the authors the 1720s and 1730s. Okay, sorry. It is also considered as the age of exuberance and scandal, of enormous energy and inventiveness and outrage, that reflected an era when English, Scottish, and Irish people found themselves in the midst of an expanding economy, lowering barriers to education, and the beginnings of industrial revolution. So overall, we can say that here. So the writer's intention was to know more about practically they were focusing on reasoning, and also they were giving importance to the scientific way of things, what was happening on the particular duration. So it was led the age to grow more on this. Okay, so to look at the literary background for this is, we know that the Augustan period exhibited exceptionally bold political writings in all genres, that is, with the satires of age marked by an arc, ironic pose, and full of nonsense and superficial air of dignified calm that hid sharp criticisms beneath. Okay, we can say that this was an age of satire again. Writing poetries with the political writings. Satires were used to mark their inefficiency or any thing to mock. So this made it very important. So one of the most critical elements of the 18th century was the increasing availability of printed material, both for readers and writers, means authors. Because it was a very important aspect, because printing materials available to the readers, and passing that and also was an awareness to go more about literacy. Okay, so then and also very remarkable thing here is books fell in price dramatically, and used books were sold at Bartholomew Fair and other fairs. Okay, because due to economic status, and we can say that here this selling the used books means it was also a trend in this era. Okay, So, to go with the Augustan literature also reflected the worldview of the age of enlightenment. Okay, as I told you, that is the age of reason, a rational and scientific approach to religious, social, political, and economic issues that promoted a secular view of the world and a general sense of progress and perfectibility. As I told you, that it's an enlightenment era to look at that age of reason. Without reasoning, or they were not accepting the things, judging on the basis of reason. Okay, the extreme rationalism and skepticism of the age led naturally to deism, and also played a part in bringing the later reaction of romanticism. The Encyclopedia of Danish Derot optimized the spirit of this. Okay, so to move with the poetry in this Augustan age, okay, again that plays a very important role. The poetry writing in the Augustan era, poets were in direct counterpoint and direct expansion of one another, with each poet writing satire when in opposition was there. Okay, so there was a great struggle over the nature and role of pastoral in the early part of the century. Words, look at that here. Words would cease to be economian. Ballads cease to be narratives. Elegies cease to be sincere memorials. Satire no longer be specific entertainments. Parodies no longer be performance pieces without a sting. Songs no longer be pointed, and the lyric would become a celebration of the individual rather than lover's complaint. Look at that, how the style of poetry they were mentioned here, or to move with this. Sorry. See, the entire Augustan age poetry was dominated by Alexander Pope, as I told you that. Because here, Pope's lines were repeated often enough to lend quite a few cliches and proverbs to modern English usage. Okay, so it was a time of using cliche and proverbs. It was a kind of influence of language on readers, or this kind of things were happening, and Pope had a few poetic rivals rather, but he had many personal enemies and political enemies. Philosophical and religious opponents were there, and Pope himself was quarrelsome in print, importantly. Okay, so Pope Alexander Pope and his enemies fought over central matters of proper subject matter for poetry and the proper pose of poetic voice. Okay, so Alexander Pope also translated great writings, the Iliad and the Odyssey. Okay, so yeah, let us see prose in the Augustan age. How prose plays important role here. Okay, the essays, satire, and dialogue in philosophy and religion thrived in the age, and also the English novel was truly begun as a serious art form. Okay, novel, as I told you. Okay, literary or literacy in the early 18th century passed into the working class, because more importance was given to the literacy, and well as well as not only to the working class people or to the middle class and upper classes. They were very much importance was given to this literacy. Furthermore, literacy was not a confined to men, though rates of female literacy are very difficult to establish. For those who were literate, circulating libraries in England began in Augustan period as well. For the readers, it was circulating the books, and it was importantly to gave importance for reading the writings of the authors. Okay, so now let us see that here novel in the Augustan age. Okay, the ground for the novel had been laid by journalism, drama, and satire. I repeat, the novel was laid by journalism, drama, and satire. Okay, the long prose satires like because very importantly our famous writing of Jonathan Swift's Gulliver's Travels, which was written in 1726, had a central character who goes through adventurous way and landed in adventurous place, a very unique place, and may learn many lessons there and coming back. Very good, And to note, okay, we famous in Gulliver Travels, like travels to many things, or Gulliver Travels their voyage to Lilliput, and okay, all plays a very important role. However, the most important single satirical source for the writing of novels came from Cervantes' Don Quixote, 1605 and 1615. It was very important there. In general, one can see these three axes, like one is drama, journalism, and satire. Very important, and blending in and giving rise to three different types of novels. Okay, we'll see that satire in the Augustan novels. How novels were satirically written. This was an era considered a high point of British satiric writing. Masterpiece of, again, as I told you that Swift's Gulliver's Travels, and a modest proposal of Jonathan Swift, and Alexander Pope's Dunciad's and Horatian Imitations and Moral Essays were famous satirical writings. Samuel Johnson's The Vanity of Human Wishes and Blunder, again, is a famous. Henry Fielding's Shamila, and Jonathan Wild, and John Gay's The Beggar's Opera. These are all satirical writings of the age. Many scholars of the era argue that a single name dominates all others in 18th century prose satire, that is Jonathan Swift. Swift wrote poetry as well as prose, and his satire range over all topics. So, again, Swift is a famous satirical writer of this age. Let us look at the drama, or how the drama played a very important role in the age of Pope, or in the Augustan age. The Augustan era is difficult to define chronologically in prose and poetry, but it is very easy to date its end in drama. See, Augustan era's drama ended definitely, that is 1739 with the Licensing Act. Before that, However, uh, the English stage was changing rapidly from restoration comedy and restoration drama, and the noble subjects were quickly developing melodramas. Okay, and George Lillo and Richard Steele wrote the trend-setting plays of early Augustan period. I repeat, George Lillo and Richard Steele were wrote trend-setting plays of the early Augustan period. Okay, so then so to move with yeah, like this. This is about Augustan age, or we can just see that how the age of Pope or the Augustan age made its contribution to the neoclassical period, and how the writings, satirical writings and prose, poetry and novels were significantly made its contribution to the literary field. Okay, so dear viewers, this is about this presentation. Okay, thank you so much, and kindly subscribe to my channel. Thank you so much.